Was that stupid to say? Shut up. Hello and welcome back to my channel. My name is Seema and I am 3 raccoons stacked up on top of each other wearing a trench coat. And today I'm gonna do the Booktube Newbie Tag just because I thought it would be a fun way to sort of say hi. So I am going to read the questions off my phone, if you'll excuse me. I'm not very good at memorizing things, so let's begin. So, question number 1, why did you start this channel? Honestly, I've been thinking of starting a YouTube channel for around a year, maybe a bit more, but I was very conflicted about what kind of content I wanted to make, if I wanted it to be more art focused or more focused about talking about media and stuff like that. And then a couple months ago, I sort of discovered Booktube and I just fell in love. I realized that, like, yeah, that's what I want to do for my channel. And yeah, I'm just going with it. I'm also hoping that starting this channel will be an encouragement for me to read more, because last year I barely read anything and I want to improve. Okay, next question is, what are some fun and unique things you can bring to Booktube? I find it weird for me to call anything about myself fun or unique, just because I feel uncomfortable complimenting myself. But I do think that perhaps I can bring an interesting perspective because I am coming into Booktube from a more STEM perspective. I'm personally an engineering student, but I've always had literature and reading and writing as a passion and hobby on the side, so perhaps I can sort of meet the difference and look at things in a bit of a different perspective. Another thing that I can perhaps bring to the table is, like a lot of other booktubers, I'm also an aspiring author, but I mostly write and draw comics. So I am hoping to bring somewhat of a comic focus to my channel, which I think could be fun. I have seen a lot of people talk about comics here, but I feel like there's always room for more. I just really love comics, y'all. And another thing that I think I can bring is I'm hoping to also work on more video essay-like content. Some of my favorite channels on YouTube are things like Lindsay Ellis or Folding Ideas, and I'd really like to see more video essay content that's perhaps more geared towards books, because books are just my favorite media of everything. So I'm hoping that I can kind of bring that. Next question, what are you most excited for in this new channel? This is probably going to be a cliche, but it's pretty much what everyone is talking about when they mention Booktube, and I am excited about just joining the community, hopefully getting to know new people. I do have friends in real life who read, but often they don't read the same books as I do, because I read primarily in English, but I don't live in an English-speaking country. So I'm just really hoping to sort of get into the community, maybe make some friends. That's really what excites me the most. Okay, the next question is, why do you love reading? And honestly, I like seeing the pictures in my brain. But really, for me, reading is a lot about escapism. I find reading is, for me, the most relaxing way to consume content versus watching a movie or a TV show or a video game or something. I don't know, reading is this sweet spot of, like, your brain is active, but you still don't have to work really hard to do it, if that makes any sense. So I love the escapism and it just calms me down. I don't know. Next question is, what book or series got me into reading? I would have to mention 2 series, the Harry Potter series by J.K. Rowling and His Dark Materials by Philip Pullman. These are both series that I actually didn't read myself, but my mom read to me when I was around like ages 5 to 8 or so, and it was just a really special thing for me to sit down and read with her, and that got me wanting to read more books on my own. The first book series that I really got into and read by myself was A Series of Unfortunate Events. I read pretty much all that series from around age 8 till whenever the series ended. I don't remember how old I was. That was really the first series that I was really into and I read on my own without being read to. Okay, the next question is, what questions would you ask your favorite booktubers? Now, I'm fairly new to Booktube, so I still don't have a lot of booktubers I watch. I am looking to get into watching more channels, especially seeing more smaller channels that maybe aren't the ones that necessarily pop up in the recommended. I think currently my favorite channel is probably Read with Cindy. She's just so funny and entertaining to watch. And I think I would ask, not necessarily her, but just any booktuber I watch, like, how do you manage the balance of work and other hobbies and doing booktube? Because that's kind of what stresses me out the most about this whole ordeal. And also, how do you do funny? I am very afraid that I'm just gonna sound obnoxious in everything I say, and I would like to know how you can be amusing and not obnoxious. Next question is, what challenges in starting a booktube channel do you think will be the hardest to overcome? Definitely time management. I have a lot of hobbies that I want to balance. I do art, I bullet journal, I'm an engineering student, which means that I have no free time. And I guess I need sleep sometimes too. So we'll see how I can kind of scooch in and fit booktube into that as well. Another challenge that I think will be hard for me to deal with is managing my expectations. It's very easy when you're starting a new hobby to hope that you're immediately going to get really big and reach all of your expectations. And for me, I just think it's important for me to manage it, because I know that it'll be a struggle for me to learn how to make videos, how to edit them, how to get it good. And I hope that I don't get too nervous in like numbers and comparing myself to others and feeling bad that I'm not meeting this impossible standard. Also, I don't know how to be funny. That's another thing. I'm trying. Okay, next question is, when did you start reading? I'm assuming the question is about when you started reading regularly and not when I learned to read. Although I did learn to read quite late, like just basically in first grade. I had vehemently avoided learning to read because I liked being read to. But then first grade, it's like, okay, I guess I have to. But I started reading regularly probably around 4th or 5th grade. Like I said, the minute that I got into Series of Unfortunate Events, then after I stopped that, I would just probably always have a book on the go. I think the time in my life where I read the most was probably in middle school because I had no friends. But ever since, I would say around age 10 or 11, I've always had at least one book on the go. Next question is, where do you read? I'll read basically anywhere. I have around a half-hour bus ride to and from college every day, so I definitely will try to read in public transport. I like reading before bed. Sometimes I just chill on the couch and read. I'm not picky. I'll read anywhere. And the last question is, what kind of books do you like to read? Now, that's a tough one for me because I will basically read everything, even if it's not something that's really on brand. But my favorites have to be fantasy. Specifically, I tend to gravitate more towards fantasy that's not the typical medieval fantasy. For example, I really like the works of Neil Gaiman. He's my favorite author probably. And I generally enjoy more real-world urban fantasy settings versus medieval, even though I will read medieval as well. I also enjoy magical realism and just overall contemporary or historical fiction, what I guess it's called literary fiction. Sounds really pretentious. I like soft science fiction, which means I'm more into things that are more dystopian or social science fiction versus space operas and such. But really, I'll read anything. I'm trying to get more into nonfiction, and yeah. Oh, and another thing, it's not really a genre, but of course I love comics. This whole shelf here is full of comic books. Totally my favorite, although I typically don't read many superhero comics. Most of the comics I read are more standalone indie comics. But I love comics, and I'm hoping to actually do a video all about comics in the future. So that's it for the tag. Thank you for bearing with me and watching this. I'm just getting started, and I'm really hoping that it'll be fun and that we'll get into the rhythm of things. I already have some videos lined up that I need to do research for, so thanks so much for watching, and I'm hoping to see you later. If you have any suggestions that you think I might enjoy based on my taste that I've mentioned here, or if you just want to say hi, or if you've done this tag as well, I'd love to see that. I tag anyone who wants to do this. You're it! So I'll see you next time.